The Channel Islands are a group of islands off of the coast of Southern California. 5 of these islands make up Channel Islands National Park. And let me tell you, these islands are beautiful. I was there at probably the ugliest time of year, and it was still wonderful. These islands, as well as the surrounding ocean, which makes up the Channel Islands National Marine Sanctuary, are greatly affected by climate change in a wide variety of ways. For the sake of simplicity, I'm going to split this video into 2 parts, the first talking about the impacts of climate change on the islands, and the second talking about the impact offshore. But please keep in mind that these systems are greatly connected and deeply influence each other. Temperature rise has a huge impact on plant and animal communities all over the world, especially in the Channel Islands. These islands have already warmed around 1 degree Celsius or 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit since 1895, and unless we halt climate change, 3.5 degrees Celsius or 6.3 degrees Fahrenheit of warming is projected. This may not sound like a lot, but it will have disastrous impacts on the islands. As temperatures rise, plants and animals' habitats will not be suitable anymore, so many will not survive and whole species will suffer. For example, rising temperatures are expected to worsen conditions for 37 bird species, 10 of which are expected to leave the islands entirely. At the same time, 26 bird species that were not previously able to live in the Channel Islands are projected to move there as temperatures warm, throwing the whole ecosystem out of whack. High temperatures and long, dry summers also increase the risk and severity of fires on the islands. While fires can be good because they burn the undergrowth and clear up areas, if they become too frequent, many plants never have a chance to regrow. Additionally, frequent fires are devastating to shrubland ecosystems like the one found in the park because these ecosystems are adapted to infrequent but very large fires, so an increase in frequency means a decrease in ecosystem health. Extreme weather will also become a lot more common on the islands, and the freak downpours will ravage the remaining plant communities. The average precipitation in the area may not change significantly, but extreme rainstorms that would historically break records will occur much more often. Basically, instead of having light rain throughout the winter, there will be very little rain for a long time, and then huge storms will drop tons of water on the area in a short period of time. This is actually happening right now. After years of drought, recent heavy rainstorms have pummeled Southern California, causing major flooding. In the Channel Islands, flooding threatens wildlife and cultural resources. The Channel Islands are full of artifacts from the Chumash people who inhabited these islands before European colonization. More extreme storms in combination with sea level rise threaten increased erosion of these cultural treasures. Ocean ecosystems of the area are also greatly struggling, as warmer oceans are having some huge consequences. The sea surface temperatures in Southern California have already warmed around 1.4 degrees Celsius or 2.5 degrees Fahrenheit since 1916, and could increase to a total of 3.9 degrees Celsius or 7 degrees Fahrenheit of warming. This warming could harm ocean ecosystems and completely change migration patterns. Additionally, marine heat waves, which kill lots of organisms and push others out of protected areas, are increasing in frequency. An example of the harms of a warmer ocean is seen in sea stars. Over the last 10 years, sea stars on the west coast of North America have been dying off in droves as a result of sea star wasting syndrome. While scientists aren't sure what caused the initial outbreak of sea star wasting syndrome, they know warmer oceans exacerbated its effects. Other diseases will also become more common in ocean ecosystems as the oceans change. Warmer oceans also hold less oxygen. Oxygen in California marine waters has decreased by around 20% since 1980 and may fall below the range of natural variability as soon as 2030. Lower levels of oxygen in oceans have many damaging impacts on ocean organisms. Low oxygen levels could decrease rockfish habitat around the Channel Islands by 50%, reduce the breeding habitat for squid, impact deepwater corals, and much more. Ocean acidification also poses many threats to the Channel Islands. The acidity of California's waters has increased up to 60% since 1895 and will continue to rise. In many areas of California, including the Channel Islands, acidification is exacerbated by upwelling. In upwelling, Cool, nutrient-rich water from the depths of the ocean moves towards the surface and fertilizes the region's ecosystems, causing them to be incredibly abundant. But this upwelled water is more acidic than surface waters. Due in part to the influence of upwelling, which is expected to increase in intensity with climate change, the acidity of California's waters has increased more than the global average and is expected to continue to increase. This increase in acidity makes it difficult for organisms such as rock crabs and deepwater coral to make and maintain stony shells and skeletons. The Channel Islands are also situated in a unique place when observing ocean currents. Not only are they in a spot that receives a lot of upwelling, but they're also at a transition zone between cold northern currents and warm southern currents. Climate change threatens to both increase upwelling and change the location of the ocean current boundary. This could result in large-scale ocean climate alteration and cause major habitat changes and shifts in species ranges. Organisms from abalone to seabirds to zooplankton will be impacted by this change, as it will cause major damage to the entire food web and make ecosystem health plummet. As ocean ecosystems worsen, they will make climate change worse in a positive feedback loop. For example, kelp and other macroalgae currently sequester up to 200 million tons of carbon annually, which is 13% more than the annual emissions of Los Angeles. Massive kelp forests off the coast of the Channel Islands sequester huge amounts of carbon dioxide and provide habitat for countless organisms. If the kelp dies off, less carbon dioxide will be absorbed, worsening climate change and making even more organisms lose their habitat. Climate change is already affecting the Channel Islands and will continue to do so unless we stop it. Luckily, we know how to do this. Burning fossil fuels like coal, oil, and natural gas adds greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide and methane to the atmosphere, which causes global warming. If we stop burning these fossil fuels, we will stop climate change and save amazing places like the Channel Islands. So please do what you can to pressure our leaders to stop burning fossil fuels and limit your own fossil fuel use. Thanks for watching, and please join me for my next video in 2 weeks.